Welcome to the Innovation in Local Government series presented by Business Engineering. 11 clean audits, South Africa's best secondary city, Western Cape's top municipality. Drakenstein doesn't just talk about good governance, they just do it, year after year. Today we get into the leadership, the disciplines and the culture that makes it possible. My guest is Dr. Johan Leibrand, City Manager of Drakenstein Municipality. Johan, welcome. Drakenstein is consistently ranked as South Africa's best secondary city for governance and service delivery and is currently the best municipality as awarded by the Western Cape government. Yet, great rankings are often the result of unglamorous daily disciplines rather than big moments. What does effective leadership and management actually look like inside a municipality like Drakenstein? And how do you build a corporate culture that sustains that standard year after year?
Dan, thank you. The first point I would like to make is that accolades are good, and we accept those as we receive those. But I need to make the point that we're one of a number of municipalities in the Western Cape that are really performing very well. So, and whilst we have the accolades, the first one to understand, we need to understand that there are still areas that requires improvement. So it's not as if we're a perfect municipality. But to get to your question, I think everything starts with leadership. Whatever you talk about in a municipality and it's performing, you can start from the top. So if leadership is in place, you have a good chance of succeeding. And to get the right leadership, you need to understand that you must appoint people on merit. There's no way that you can appoint cadres or people who cannot do the job and then expect the results. So leadership is important. Good managers on merit is important. And then you need to have a common vision. In Drakenstein, the common vision is plain and simple, a city of excellence. And everything is pushing that vision. So it must start with me. I need to do my job in an excellent way. My HODs must do the same. And everybody, it is cascaded to the lowest level, to that unskilled labor, must also perform his or her function in an excellent way. If everybody is doing that, that is actually where your corporate culture is also starting. And then there must be, in my case, I was appointed in 2017 with a specific agenda. The agenda was change Drakenstein and take us to the next level. That was my agenda. Now, change agenda is never a popular agenda. It's an agenda where you need to change. And when necessary, you need to sometimes kick ass. So you must take people out of their comfort zones, but that's part of the job. And I think we did quite well over the past almost 10 years now in taking Drakenstein to the next level. It's about management is about managing processes, things, systems, assets, equipment, and whatever. So you can manage that, but you can't manage people. You lead people. And I think the difference between management and leadership is sometimes not understood well by people in control. You lead people, you motivate people, and that's where your corporate culture is also kicking in. And you must lead by example. It makes no sense to tell people, be punctual, but you never punctual. To tell them to do A, but you're not doing A. So you lead by example. And it's important that you understand that you're not working with objects. So keeping people motivated, and people must see the change, and they will then buy into that change and take people with you on that journey of a city of excellence. That is the trick, and that is what we actually, I think, achieved successfully in Drakenstein. A corporate culture, a toxic corporate culture, Dan, will eat up all your plans. You can come up with a wonderful strategy or plans or whatever you want to do, but if the corporate culture is toxic, it will mess up that strategy or vision immediately. But if people buy into that and you can keep the toxicity out, that will actually take you forward. And in Drakenstein, our current culture is one of being customer-centric, because we must focus on our customers and focusing on service delivery and then getting things done. We are here to deliver service. I mean, we must understand that in the private sector, the output, the final outcome is to generate profit. In local government, the outcome is to deliver services. And whilst you must be financially sustainable, your outcome is service delivery. Human resources is important. So when you talk about a corporate culture and you want to take an organization in any direction, you must focus. We always focus on finance. There are indicators managing finance, but sometimes we're not paying enough attention to the most important resource being human resources. So it's very important that you focus on that. And we've established something, a homegrown thing that I introduced personally called Suplis, SUPLIS, Suplis. The soup must listen, and that is to give the junior staff, that laborer, a voice. And that is the soup must go there with a pen, with ink in that pen, with a clipboard, ask questions. How are you doing? How can we do the job better? What is it that you need in terms of tools of the trade? And you listen. And when we meet in a month's time, you give them feedback. So there must be a budget linked to what we say. If we need to change anything, that must be fed back to top management. But that gives people from the ground a voice upwards. And that's where you actually move to a corporate culture that is not toxic. And I think that makes a huge difference. I'm not aware of any other municipality that's doing something similar, but this is definitely a good practice in my view. And then as part of the Suplis program, you must also identify skills gaps. So if there's a skills gap or somebody needs specific training, there must be a personal development plan, a plan where we focus on that specific individual. What is it that you need in terms of your job description to do a better job? And that personal development plan or PDP must then kick in. A basic, simple thing, if you talk about corporate culture and local government specifically, is answer your phones. So a telephone not answered, you can have all the cute things, you can be in the office, but if you're not answering phones, your telephones, the public will just say they're useless. So it is critical that we answer all telephones. If it rings more than 5 times, there's a problem. We must answer the phones. And then emails. Emails is not just a joke. An email is an important document that comes in an electronic format into the municipality, and all emails, that's our standard in Drakensberg, must be responded to, dealt with within 24 hours. So if an email comes in at 1 o'clock today, before 1 o'clock tomorrow, that email must be dealt with. And that is the standard. If you do those simple things, the rest will actually follow. Then all frontline staff then must wear name tags. Because if there's a name tag, somebody will not mess around with the client because somebody can take your name. So that name tag is to a large extent even a supervisor. So name tags is a simple thing that will make a huge difference in terms of service delivery. And then all staff must be apolitical. So when we do our job, we're not politicians. We don't ask if whether that pothole is an ANC pothole or a DA pothole. If there's a pothole or there's grass that we need to cut or whatever, we go in and we repair and we do what we need to do.
11 clean audits is a record very few municipalities in South Africa can match. But a clean audit is really a reflection of everything else being done correctly. Walk us through the financial management disciplines and accountability structures that make that possible.
A clean audit is important, but it is not the end result. The end result is you must actually indicate whether we are delivering the services. And you achieve a clean audit by starting again with leadership. Ethical leadership and effective leadership will take you to perform the core functions in terms of legislation and comply with that. And that automatically will generate or deliver a clean audit. Our core function is service delivery, as I've indicated, and that is our main focus. So our main focus is I'm testing my people when we look at performance management is whether we are delivering the services that the public are paying for. Drakensberg in 2020 then experienced financial difficulties. It was just after COVID, and Ratings Africa is rating municipalities, and if you achieve on their index 50 in terms of score, you are sustainable. You are relatively okay. Our score in 2020 was 34, which is far below the 50. So we were in trouble. And 5 years later, today, our score is 73. So we're one of the top 5 municipalities from a financial sustainability point of view as we speak today. And that happened through fiscal discipline and focusing on what you need to focus. And whilst we did that, we were focusing on efficiency. So it's one thing to cut a tree and it's costing us 10,000 rand. The question you must answer is whether it's really necessary to pay 10,000 rand to cut a tree, and can't we do it with 2,000 rand or do it ourselves? And those efficiencies, I think we implemented that, and that helped us and assisted us to actually achieve what we're now achieving. A clean audit is a result. All departments, when you get to a clean audit, all departments are involved in terms of that. It's not one department, but central in terms of facilitating the process and keeping everybody honest is your finance department with your CFO in charge of that, and then your chief audit executive in terms of internal audit. Now, after the Auditor General's report and audit, they issue their opinion, and then they expect every municipality to come up with a MAP, M-A-A-P, a municipal audit action plan. And the purpose of that plan is to indicate how are you going to ensure that in the next financial year you're not going to have repeats, or that you will deal with those control deficiencies that the Auditor General pointed out. What Drakenstein did is that I personally implemented a DARP. So I don't think there are any other municipality that has a DARP. So I just took the principle of the MAP and I took it into Drakenstein. And now my internal audit, so my external auditor is the Auditor General, they come up and they expect a MAP. My internal auditor is preparing us for the Auditor General coming in, doing certain audits that I identify as risk areas, because your internal audit plan is risk-based. And all their findings, I expect a DARP, a Department Audit Action Plan. And by doing that, when the Auditor General comes in, we are actually ready. And I'm quite comfortable that the control deficiencies are in place and the risks in terms of compliance is also dealt with.
Johan, municipalities can talk about economic development as something they drive directly, but Drakenstein seems to take a different view, focusing instead on creating the right conditions and partnering with the private sector. How do you think about the municipality's role in economic growth? And how have those partnerships translated into real investment and job creation? What your approach to property rates and financial sustainability means for the people and businesses choosing to invest in Drakenstein?
Partnerships are important. And for me, the partnership between Drakenstein and developers, Drakenstein and all our stakeholders. And I think the first thing that any municipality must do, even my departments must do that, but every municipality must do stakeholder mapping. So you must map your stakeholders. You must understand who are your stakeholders. The normal, the vanilla one that everybody talks about is the community. Yeah, we know that. But you must unpack the community. There are various sectors within the community that you need to understand. And then you must actually build relationships. The social game here is also important, that there are relationships. As you can pick up the phone, you can talk to somebody and say, how can we sort this out? And that brings you all, that adds also the force multiplier in terms of when you need to work with, say, for instance, neighborhood watches. That complements my law enforcement teams. And therefore, that the relationship, as an example, is crucial. And the same thing with the fire department. We have SLA service level agreements with Swartland Municipality, with Stellenbosch Municipality, and Cape Town. And when they need us, we support them and vice versa. So I think when we talk about economic development and we talk about how we take development forward, the first thing that the municipality must do is invest in infrastructure. Make a deliberate focus decision and have that intention and focus to invest in your own infrastructure. I'm talking about wastewater treatment. I'm talking about roads and stormwater, water and sanitation, waste management, electricity. Invest in that, because by investing in that, you're creating an environment with capacity that can accommodate development. And if you invest in infrastructure, then also that will lead to reliable electricity, clean water in taps, waste is removed. And so when people move into the area, they can see the grass is cut, the waste is picked up. It is a well-governed municipality. And if those things are in place, that is the first point where an investor will actually make a decision. I would like to take my business or my investment into that area. The other point is The difference between a weak municipality and the next municipality is maintenance. And it's very important that you focus on maintenance and so as far as possible, preferably preventative maintenance. Sometimes you must react to sort out a problem, but the focus should be on preventative to actually prevent as far as possible the risk of something happening that will mess up your service delivery to your community. And then the municipality must be investor friendly. And we are investor friendly. That's something that I changed in 2017 when I joined the municipality. And we view investors as partners, Dan. It's important that I'm not doing you a favor, investor, when you come into the area or developer. We are in a partnership. You bring your money. We must follow certain processes. I don't need anything from you in terms of kickbacks or whatever. I do my job, you do your job, and there's a win-win at the end of the day. And if that is the partnership, you will actually reap the benefits. The other thing is to actually remove all red tape and roll out red carpet. So it's important not to tell somebody why we can't do something, but actually move into a mode where you say, how can we actually sort this out and how do we take hands? And the customer is king, and we focus on the developer and those relationships. So that is, for me, is crucial. Of course, in Drakenstein also tourism is important. You know, it is a tourism area where tourism is important. The normal tourism in terms of the wine industry, but also sport is very important in Drakenstein. There's also a lot of sport tourism, cycling and etc. that's happening. And then when the investor or the community assess or evaluate the municipality, they look at, is it affordable? Are the services good? Is the water clean? Is the electricity sustainable? Is it guaranteed? And can we afford what is charged by the municipality? And I think the trick is not to overcharge your community. That you rather grow the economy. The economy must actually organically enlarge your budget, grow your budget, and then the economy is also creating jobs. And that's the way to go. But if you have the normal vanilla thing where all you do is you balance your budget by actually increasing tariffs, at one point the community will not be in a position to afford those tariffs. So we must understand in the year 2026 that we must be linked and be wide awake and aware of what the situation and economic situation in South Africa and also in your area is. In Drakenstein, and I think that's the result. So you can talk. The economy is growing very well. Our unemployment rate then is 17.4%. It's one of the lowest in the country, and it's not by default, it is by design. And we are actually aggressively growing the economy, but in an orderly way so that we still have the same ambiance in terms of Drakenstein, that it's still rural. You still see what you need to see in terms of the mountain and whatever. So you still have that experience, but we also grow the economy so that we do what we need to do. Our valuation role since 2021 grew in terms of value by 63%, which is not normal. I mean, that's residential development, overall development. So the value of your valuation role. In some instances, like in Val de Vie, the value increased by 200% and even more per property. Now, you can't give that through to the user. You will just kill them. So what we did, and we're the first municipality in the country that approached COGTA, that is the Department of Traditional Affairs and Local Government, and they approved that we can cap in Drakenstein. So we then capped our property rates to say nobody will pay higher than 12.5%. Even if your property goes up by 60% or 80%, you will not be charged more than 12.5%. There are people that only pay 2%, 3%, but the highest with 12.5%. My own property went up by 58%, and of course I paid 12.5%. Now that is important because you're sending a very strong message to your public, to your stakeholders, to your businesses, that we are not here to just take your money. We would like to add value. We would also like to to roll up our sleeves and to grow the economy and be progressive in terms of what we're doing, so that we make the municipality work in all facets. Then, Dan, it is important when you look at any municipality, there are certain critical indicators that will indicate whether things are okay there or not. And in terms of the collection rate, Drakensberg, I can't charge the public, but I'm not collecting the money I'm supposed to collect. There are municipalities that's collecting 80% or 70% of what they're supposed to collect, and then they expect the public to stand in for the deficit. In our case, we are collecting 98% of what we're supposed to collect. That is one of the highest in the country. And a month ago, we were number one in the province in terms of collection rate. So that's an important thing. The norm in the country is 95. If you get 95, you are excellent. We are on 98%. Then staff cost. The public would like to know, but what are you paying for staff? In some municipalities, it's 40%, some it's 30%, some it's 35%. Drakensberg, our staff cost is 26.5%, and the national norm is it should be between 25 and 40%. So 26% is an excellent percentage in terms of that. That brings peace of mind to the investor and the public, that they're not messing with money, they're not losing money unnecessarily. Then electricity. We purchase electricity from Eskom, we redistribute that. And if there are too many losses there, somebody must also pay that bill. In Drakensberg, our electricity distribution losses is 6.6%, whilst the national norm is, which is normal, between 7 and 10%. So we're below the minimum norm of what is allowed, because there will always be losses. In water distribution losses, we are on 17.8%, where the national norm is 15 to 30%. I can tell you that in municipalities in the north, that figure is 46, 48%, and some instances even 52% of water losses. So that is a clear indication whether it's working in that municipality or not. Then payment of your creditors, people rendering services to you are your creditors. You must pay them. We pay all our creditors within 30 days. And if it's a smaller business that with a turnover less than a million, we pay them within 20 days to assist them in terms of their cash flow. That's also something that we do additionally. And then building plans, and we are using Collaborator and business engineering there. Specific Collaborator, we have various systems of Collaborator, but in this case with building plans, we submit our building plans electronically. And our building plans, 500 square meters and less, we approve those and deal with those within 30 days if the applicant complies with all the requirements, and larger than 500 square meters within 60 days. Now that's also important, because that's your golden mine. I mean, if you get your building plan sorted out, people break ground, and that is where the economy kicks in and where you create jobs, etc., etc. And then my last point under this question is balance. There must always be balance. Whatever you do, there must be balance. And in this case, we must look after the affluent and we must look after the poor. And in Drakensberg, I think we're getting that recipe quite right, because we are offering our indigents, our poor people, 1,750 Rand per month in terms of support, whilst the national norm is 950. So we're one of the highest municipalities in the country supporting the poor people in Drakensberg. Thank you, Dan.
Drakensberg has made significant investments in digital transformation, from GIS across 5 directorates and real-time citizen service platforms, to integrated systems like Collaborator from business engineering, which digitizes core administrative and governance functions such as records, committee and contract management, building control and land use. What has that journey looked like, and how do you ensure that innovation and technology are actually delivering results in practice rather than simply looking good on paper?
Then that's very important. Without innovation and without technology, you're stuck, and that will also keep you in the vanilla space. So to get out of that space, as I've indicated, business engineering, and they have a specific system that we utilize here for more than 10 years called Collaborator. The Collaborator system, there are various modules that we use, but specific modules like the one that I've already cited just in the previous question deals with planning, electronic planning submissions. I think we were one of the first municipalities in the country that submitted or allowed people to submit their building plans electronically and even pay electronically. And that there we used Collaborator, the Collaborator system. We're also using it for contract management and contract registers, land use, as well as administration. So that is one of the systems that we use. But we also have SeeClick Fix. SeeClick Fix is an app that we use, and we're now using it for 5 years. It takes you a while. I mean, your first year, you just get awareness. The second year, you get a little bit more buy-in. And every year, you move a little bit upper on the maturity level. But Drakenstein has an app where if you see a pothole or you see any problem, you can take a picture, and on that app, it gives the location and it gives us all the details, and you'll get a reference number to say, we confirm that you reported this pothole, you reported this tree, you reported a sewer problem or whatever. And when we've done with it, we repaired the pothole, we repaired the street light, you'll get a closing SMS to say, done and dusted, the pothole has been repaired. So that's a wonderful system. It's available to the public. It is through our WhatsApp groups. It was distributed to all our residents through all the wards. We've got 33 wards in Drakenstein, and it's on our website, and it's working very well. And that is monitored at management level on a weekly basis to check, are we actually performing in terms of these? It's one thing to report on SeeClick Fix, but you must now make sure that you perform and that you actually repair what you need to repair. Then GIS. I believe that it's one thing to have an integrated development plan, an IDP, and a spatial development framework, but you must map it. Everything that we do is actually spatially. I mean, Drakenstein is a spatial space. So you must actually, whatever you plan, whether it's a park or a road or whatever, put it on the map. And I believe that strategies must be mapped. It must be a mapping exercise. So show me the GIS of what are we going to do with parks? What are we going to do with roads? That is important. So we must move from word to GIS and to mapping. And I think GIS is technology and it's innovative in terms of the way we utilize it. And then drones. We must always embrace new technology and see how can we utilize this in our industry, in our space. And we're utilizing this on a daily basis to get pictures of areas that we need to understand. You bring it to a boardroom, you can actually say, I was at the spot, at the location, but you were not there. It's in the boardroom. So a drone footage is wonderful in terms of bringing data and information to the boardroom. And we also use that to control. You know, law enforcement will actually fly a drone and check informal settlement, whether there are land invasion happening or whatever. So drones are utilized throughout the municipality. And then artificial intelligence. We must start to embrace artificial intelligence. In my view, there's a red artificial intelligence and a green one. The red one is when you want artificial intelligence to think for you, and then you actually convey that nonsense to other people. And green artificial intelligence is when you utilize your own intelligence and ask artificial intelligence to actually add value to that, be it grammar, be it actually interpreting something or whatever. But it's there to add value and not to actually replace the human intelligence. But we need to embrace that. You can quickly sort out a lot of data, etc., etc. So there is definitely a positive usage for AI, and Drakenstein is also embracing that. I would like people to go to be skilled and trained how to utilize artificial intelligence to benefit the organization and to help them to perform their functions better, not to replace them. Then we have uninterrupted power supplies. We have identified 52 critical traffic intersections, and there are traffic lights, of course. And during load shedding, it was a mess. If it's load shedding, people can't get through those intersections. So we installed in all 52 uninterrupted power supplies with lithium batteries. And if the power is out, whether it's load shedding or an outage, all the traffic lights, all the important traffic lights in Drakenstein are working. You can't believe what positive message that is sending to your public. if they miss everything, and they see there's nothing is on, the street lights are dead, everything is dead, but my traffic light is working. My traffic light is actually allowing us to carry on with the economy so that we can move from point A to B. So we embrace that, and I think we're one of the only municipalities in the country, if not the only one, that has that in place. And a user-friendly tariff program system on Excel was developed by Drakenstein homegrown. So you can go on our website, and if you want to know what will I pay from the 1st of July more for water, electricity, property rates, just go on that system. It's very simple. It will ask you a few questions, and it will give you, you press a few buttons and you get the result, and you know exactly, I paid last year 2,000 Rand for this. I will in the next year pay 2,100 Rand for the same function or service. And that's a wonderful innovation, because instead of calling us in, you can actually go on the website, and we actually distributed that even on WhatsApp to people to say, just go there and put your information in and you'll get the accurate the results. And that is when you focus on your customers and on your public. I think that's some of the things, but I mean, we are constantly looking at new ideas, Dan, that we can utilize to make our job better, be more productive, and actually serve the public better.
Johan, in closing, there is no shortage of strategy documents, white papers, and good intentions in local government. The real differentiator is implementation. How does Drakenstein's approach to performance management ensure that what gets planned actually gets done? And what would you say to municipal leaders who are still searching for the bridge between strategy and execution?
Now, Dan, this is very important, and I'm very passionate about performance management, because I indicated earlier in our engagement that I was appointed to bring change. And the way to bring change is you performance manage it. You must come up with the right indicators. You must have the correct targets, and that must be monitored on a monthly basis, quarterly basis. Otherwise, you will not achieve what you need to achieve. So I utilized performance management to turn Drakenstein around, whether we talk about financial management, whether we talk about anything service delivery. So the important thing in a municipality, and in my municipality, is actually to identify the performance gap. There's a performance gap. That is the gap between the target that you said we need to achieve, or all the targets you set to achieve, and what you actually achieve. So there's a difference between the target set versus the actual. And the trick is to actually close that gap. And if that gap is closed, you're actually very effective in terms of performance management. So effective planning, that's where performance management starts. Effective planning in terms of the integrated development plan, which is a 5-year plan for the municipality. And that is then also supported by the spatial development framework. So you will see those two. The spatial development framework depicts the strategic plan, the IDP, spatially. So there should be a very healthy relationship and interaction between the IDP and the SDF. And what is important in terms of when we focus on what is it, you can't measure everything. And if you measure the wrong stuff, it's garbage in, garbage out. So how do you ensure that you focus on the right stuff? You start asking the question, what is the 20% that I need to change or address that will bring the 80% results? That answer is where you should focus your effort. And as soon as that is under control, you move to the next level of areas that you did not perform, that did not perform in the way you would like it to perform. Drakenstein is using the vanilla performance management. That's the normal thing. All municipalities are doing it, but many municipalities are actually only assessing performance management every 6 months. Drakenstein is doing it every quarter. And we use every quarter as an early warning to say that in the first quarter, I can see that we're not going to achieve this target. The question is, what should we do in the remaining 3 quarters to ensure that we achieve the final goal by the end of the financial year? I think that is important. So we utilize performance management to the full, but then we also do something in Drakenstein that's very different, and we utilize monitoring and evaluation. Now, the term is not new. Everybody can give you a story about monitoring and evaluation. You can even add the R, monitoring, evaluation, and review. But in Drakenstein, it means that over and above the quarterly targets, the monthly targets, and the annual targets, every day there are people calling you. There are everyday problems. We call meetings, and we have meetings on a weekly basis. And all those decisions that we take in those meetings then are tracked through M&E. So I have a lady in my office that is focusing only on M&E and performance management, but M&E. So everything that we decide this week, well, next week in my management meeting, there will be a dashboard indicating, did we achieve? And every HOD is assessed. And if they did not achieve, it's not green, it's amber, or it is red. And then we actually ask the question, why not? There's a due date. It's not just doing it. You must do it by a due date that we collectively agreed we must do. And that is happening every day, every week. And that makes, that covers all the gaps. If you only rely on performance management and those few indicators that you actually have there, the vanilla thing, you will not turn the organization around, and you will not create a culture where there's a sense of urgency. By doing this, there's a sense of urgency. Whatever we talk will be implemented, will be monitored, and will be reported on. Then also in Drakenstein, all our political members of the Mayoral Committee sign performance agreements with the executive mayor. That is not the case in all municipalities. That's something that we implemented since 2017. And since 2021, all the ward councillors, remember those people are saying, vote for me, I'll sort you out, I'll represent you in this ward. All those ward councillors are also signing performance contracts. And they are also assessed whether they perform as ward councillors in their wards. So yeah, even our minute keeping, Dan, when we have meetings, whatever meetings, is in the form of an action plan. All minutes. We don't take verbatim minutes or whatever. It's what is the action, what must happen, who must do it, who brings the accountability. I need a name there, not a function. I don't want to talk finance. It's Piet or Gert or Koos, and by when. There's a specific date. And then, of course, effective communication. We must communicate. People must know what your plans are, where you're going, and that's your external stakeholders, your community, your business, and all those stakeholders that we met, but also your internal stakeholders, your staff. And there we're using intranet very effectively. And then my last point, Dan, is Goya. Get off your ass. So that is also, the culture is actually changed by, there's a get off your ass attitude and culture in Drakenstein. You can't manage from your office. You can't remote control a function. You need to get out there. You must go to the parks. You must go to the cemeteries. You must go to the problem on the ground and see what's going on there. And then also take pictures and agree. This thing must be changed by next week. And that is also M&E, like I indicated to you. And then there's off your ass, but there's also on. The on part is when you need to actually do your emails, when you must read what you need to read in terms of policies. You must do your sign off on documentation or whatever. So there must be a healthy on off, but Goya is definitely the approach that we follow and that I drive hard in Drakenstein. Thank you, Dan.
A special thank you to Dr. Johan Leibrand from Drakenstein Municipality and Business Engineering for this insightful conversation on Future Cities Africa.